She seems a little bit happier in the footage than she did at the conversation we had, but she said she was traumatized, that she didn't want it.
Poor, foolish Clayton. Did you really think that Anali was just sitting miserably in the corner of the party bus while the stripper danced away? No, Clayton, this was her bachelorette. This was the most fun she probably had in the States since arriving. But the thing is, Anali's behaviour isn't just raising question marks with Clayton. She's got Brandi on high alert too.
What in the is my brother doing? She's here to get the green card, the ring, and all that.
Oh boy, make no mistake, Brandi has come on this tell-all to seriously stir the pot. She doesn't care who she offends. Now, before we dive into Brandi's accusations and what's caused her complete 180, let's just start at the beginning. So, the last time we saw these two, Anali arrived late to her wedding, having spent the whole morning contemplating whether or not she should be getting married. And after eventually saying "I do," Anali finally came clean to her dad about her husband. So now that they're married and now that their relationship is out in the open, has that changed anything for these two? Well, as it turns out, yes it has. They've moved to Oklahoma, and guess what? Clayton's mum no longer lives with them.
She got her own place, so like she's still close, but she's not living with us anymore.
So she's not living in a closet anymore?
No.
That's growth, right? I mean, Brandi warned Anali that Clayton's mum, Violet, would be living with them for the rest of their lives. But here we are just a few months later and things have totally changed. But for all the progress, that doesn't mean that Clayton's castmates are ready to give him an easy ride. They all seem to have a lot to say about his former living situation.
My thought about the guinea pigs is, like, yes, that cage would have fit in the same space she was sleeping in, but they need ventilation because they're just like poopers and peers.
Wait, so let me just check that I've understood this correctly. Clayton, are you saying that providing the guinea pigs with fresh air and ventilation was more important than providing your mum with space and comfort? Wow. Talk about priorities. Now, as for their new living arrangements, there seems to be an awful lot more to it than just having Violet out of their hair. Let's not forget, much to Clayton's disappointment, Violet's presence made Anali uncomfortable in her own bed. So now that they have their own privacy and their own space, has their sex life improved?
Ahora estamos realmente mejor porque la casa es bastante grande, ni los vecinos nos pueden escuchar.
Niña.
Entonces,
I bet that Clayton's tail is wagging with that development. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows for these two in Oklahoma. Oh no, far from it. You see, when it comes to Anali's family, she's still paying for all the lies and secrecy, for the fact that she got married without telling her father. The pain, the strain on her relationship with her dad is clear for all to see. But the thing is, for as much hurt as it's clearly caused, it seems as though if she had her time again, Anali wouldn't change a thing.
pero a la vez lo hice por amor, porque si yo hubiera dicho toda la verdad, jamás hubiera estado aquí y nunca hubiéramos estado juntos.
That explanation, well, it doesn't really address the fact that Anali could have told her father prior to the wedding. She could have let it be known that she had a boyfriend, she had a fiancé once she'd arrived in the States. It all just suggests that Anali's hesitation was more to do with her own doubts and less to do with her father's opinions. Because even now, her dad disapproves of the relationship. He declined the invite to appear on the tell-all, but he did pass on a very strong message for Anali.
He said, I hope my daughter reconsiders and comes home. She doesn't need anything there. Thank you.
That's got to hurt. For someone who was already so shaky in her decision to get married, hearing words like that from her nearest and dearest, her loved ones, you've got to imagine that it would cause her to question her decision. And one thing is apparent for everyone to see. Hearing her dad talk like this is breaking Anali's heart.
Extraño sus llamadas, es bastante bromista y todo. Es difícil.
You can tell that Anali wasn't expecting that today. In this moment, she's got to be asking herself, did I do the right thing? And for as much as she insists that she did this for the right reasons, that it was necessary, hearing how much she misses her dad's voice, misses their daily phone calls, is just so sad. Now, from one tough family member to another, it's at this point that Sean welcomes Brandi on stage. Now, what's interesting to see is that Anali actually gives her sister-in-law a prematurely warm welcome.
Hi, Brandi.
Hi.
That little heart gesture was sweet. It indicates that these two's bond, their relationship, has got stronger. But, as Anali's about to discover, that warmth might be one-sided. You see, from the minute that Brandi sits down, she begins talking about her conspiracy theories. She begins to share her theories as to why Anali lied to her family and why she thinks this entire marriage is a sham.
I just think it's odd. Like, I don't know if maybe she has a boyfriend in Peru or something that she doesn't want Clayton to find out about.
And with that one comment, I'm willing to bet that all love is officially lost between these two. Now, I don't know if Brandi has come up with that all by herself, or whether she's been spending a bit too much time on Reddit. But this certainly isn't the first time that Anali has heard that theory. And her face says it all. For what must be the millionth time, Anali is again forced to explain why she kept Clayton's secret, and she's sticking to the same story.
Mi idea inicial fue que él se mude a Perú conmigo, pero por su trabajo yo tuve que hacer este sacrificio de dejar a mi familia, dejar mi país.
Look, let's try and see things from both perspectives. Could Anali be in this for a green card? Sure. There's definitely a world where that might be the truth. But, equally, could it be that Anali might just be as odd, as unique as Clayton is? Could she have her own character flaws? Could it be that she fell in love with Clayton and was just too afraid to tell her dad about it? Yeah, I mean, that might be a possibility too. Like, I've seen lots of people in my comments saying that maybe she's scared of her dad for some reason. And maybe that might be the case. Time will tell. But for today at least, while Anali may not have her family here to help her fight her corner, she does receive support from her fellow South American castmates. They're keen to provide some cultural context on the father-daughter relationship.
Well, it doesn't make any sense to me either. Like, you know,
Not to defend anyone, Clayton, but Latin American parents are scary, doesn't matter how old you are.
Do you agree, Manuel?
Yes.
But Brandi isn't buying it. She's convinced that Clayton and Anali's marriage is fake. You see, no sooner is one theory disproved than she moves on to her next. This time, she takes aim at their lack of affection for each other. And you can tell that Clayton is getting sick and tired of his sister.
Yeah,
Look at everyone sitting here and look at the way you guys are sitting.
Look how we're hugging. Now what? It's going to be something else.
I'm not sure that the people sitting on that stage are the best examples to use here. Their intimacy, the fact that they're sitting close together, doesn't exactly say much about all of their relationships. Now, the thing is, up until now, Clayton has been laughing off all of Brandi's criticisms. But when it comes to the stripper debacle, something tells me he's going to be on his sister's side. Especially as this is the first time he'll be seeing all of the footage.
I think Anali, she low-key likes it because when she notices that I'm not looking, she's like, oh,
take a selfie with me?
You can literally see the shock and disappointment on Clayton's face. Now, the way that Anali had described it to him, she made it sound like she endured the stripper rather than enjoyed it. But those clips are pretty damning. There's no way that she can argue she wasn't enjoying herself. And Clayton is clearly having difficulty reconciling the difference between what he just saw and what Anali led him to believe.
She seems a little bit happier in the footage than she did at the conversation we had, but she said she was traumatized, that she didn't want it.
Traumatized? I mean, the woman was in a state of pure bliss. If she was really traumatized, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't be commemorating the occasion with a selfie. But instead of turning to Anali, instead of asking his wife for her input here, Clayton instead blames Brandi for literally everything. He accuses his sister of only hiring the stripper to mess with his marriage.
Well,
Brandi's cizañosa.
Brandi, you started the relationship meddling, so yes, Nikki, I do.
Well, she's not exactly denying it now, is she? She's wearing that stirrer label with pride by the looks of that move. But rather than get offended, Brandi brings out receipts. She starts to talk facts. She reminds Clayton that it was Anali who asked for her stripper. I just innocently delivered on her request, Brandi says.
I didn't purposely try to do anything to affect your relationship. If you're counting the bachelorette party that your woman asked for, I brought it.
Yeah, Brandi, that's true, but you did so knowing full well that your brother would be very unhappy about it. Brandi's poker face is incredible. Clearly, she has a lot of disdain and distrust of Anali. Yet, at the wedding, at the bachelorette party, she was there acting like Annali's best friend. She was warning Anali about Clayton and her mum. The thing is, the things that she was warning Anali about didn't come true. Clayton's mum moved out, and the fact that she's been harbouring all of these red flags about Anali indicates one thing. She had everyone fooled, especially Anali, who right now feels like she's been stabbed in the back. She genuinely thought that she and Brandi were friends.
Ok, cuéntame, ¿cuáles son las banderas rojas? Ya que para ti lo principal era que, no sabe su papá. Ok, ¿cuál más? Ya le dije.
Wow, okay, so we've officially reached boiling point. If Brandi's goal was to get under Clayton and Anali's skin, she's certainly succeeded. Not only is Anali biting back, but Clayton also has some harsh words of his own for his sister. Brandi might claim that she was just looking out for Clayton, she was just being protective, but Clayton calls her out for her bullshit.
At what point do you start believing that this relationship's real?
It's whenever I feel like it.
Well, that's how you've lived all your life, and it hasn't gotten you very far, has it?
Oh.
This is a complete departure from the Brandi that we saw at the end of the season. That Brandi almost seemed happy to call Anali her sister-in-law. Now, I don't know whether Brandi's just using this for more airtime. I don't know whether she's trying to use this to catapult into her OnlyFans career, which she's recently launched. Or maybe she simply gets a kick from stirring the pot. But regardless, one thing is absolutely clear. Clayton and Brandi have a very strange brother-sister relationship. There seems to be some strange underlying tension there, and everyone can sense it.
How many think there are deeper issues between Brandi and Clayton that are not being discussed?
Now, unfortunately, while they don't dive any deeper into this, I really don't think this should come as a surprise to anyone. There's been a lot of snide remarks and strange actions towards each other from the pair of them. So yeah, I don't know whether she's just being a protective older sister, or maybe she is genuinely trying to split up Anali and her brother. But wherever the truth lies, once Brandi's segment ends and she goes backstage, her opinions only seem to get more and more anti-Anali.
What in the is my brother doing? She's here to get the green card, the ring, and all that.
And there it is. Those are her true feelings. Now, while Brandi may not be perfect, it is a fair enough question to ask. Like, no one can deny there are a lot of red flags about Anali's behaviour. There is a lot of speculation about whether or not this relationship is real. But Anali has something of her own to share. She has a message for all of her doubters, including and especially for Brandi.
Para que la gente y Brandi vean que realmente tenemos mucho amor, mira esto.
The thing is, Anali, kissing your husband like that isn't really evidence of anything, really. Even with Brandi on stage, somehow I feel like these two got off quite lightly. In a weird way, it's almost as if Brandi took a lot of the attention off them. Like, where were the questions about Clayton and his mum's weird bond? Where were the questions about why Anali had so many doubts on the morning of her wedding? Why weren't they asked about their intimacy issues? Why weren't they asked about all of their arguments? Sadly, there's still a lot of unanswered questions here. But one thing is for sure. Watch this space, because time will eventually tell just how serious this marriage really is.